Welcome! Today's video is going to be a little bit different because I'm actually not going to do any pottery. Instead, I'm going to show you how I use some of the pottery that I did in one of the last videos. The fermenting crocks. Because some of you asked, but that's fine, but how do you ferment? So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to make two different kinds of fermenting. The first one is a Kapusta, it's called. Sort of Ukrainian inspired. It's a red Kapusta. So we're going to use cabbage and beetroot and some vinegar and some spices, chili and stuff. And the other one is a kimchi, which is more sort of Korean inspired. So let's get ahead with that. So for the red kimchi, we're going to use some beetroot and going to slice them, and then we're going to use the cabbage. It's a fresh cabbage. And of course, the more cabbage you use, the more red it's going to be, but
the more beetroot we use.
Yeah, the more beetroot you use, the more red it's going to be. But you actually don't need that much to turn it quite red. So. And the cabbage we cut in sort of like a little bit of big chunks. So yeah, ready to, yeah, just ready to pick up and eat. And they're wonderful. We use the red Kapusta for, is it called Kapusta?
Yeah.
Yeah, the red Kapusta. Just as a snack, or we use it in sandwiches, or, well, it just tastes really good. So next, we need to boil some water, and in that we're going to add some vinegar. So we use, for this portion, we use 2 liters of water, and how much vinegar? About
250 grams, I think, yeah.
250 grams of vinegar?
Yeah.
Do you measure vinegar in grams?
Oh, milliliters doesn't matter.
So about 250 milliliter of vinegar, so 2 liters of water and 1/4 of a liter of vinegar. And then we're going to add some salt to this as well.
Yes, and sugar.
And sugar, yeah.
But last time...
So salt and sugar and vinegar, that's basically the fluid that we're gonna mix this with. So we use, for this portion, 3 big spoons full of salt. And I mean, in the end of the fermentation, you can always adjust it. We were just talking about last time we did it. We used too much sugar and not enough vinegar. So we're going to adjust it this time with a little more vinegar and a little less sugar. We also need chilies in the red Kapusta. And these are just some homegrown, actually my father grown them last year. We just had it in the freezer. So we're going to make a small selection. I'm not actually sure how hot they are. We will find out sooner or later. I think this is the selection we go with. The yellow ones I know. They're not too super hot, but not too bad. These ones I don't think is so hot. This is also in the hotter range, and this is somewhere in between. This one, I believe, is quite evil. I'm not sure. We will find out. So we've filled up this first crock with layers of cabbage and beetroot, and then we added the chilies and some bay leaf and some black pepper corns, and then we will fill up with the water, sugar, vinegar, salt mixture that we're working on now. We're also going to add some garlic. I didn't actually know that, but now I do. So now we've filled them up, and we will add the warm fluid. We were just discussing whether or not the crocks would survive boiling water, so we kind of cool it down a little bit with some cold water. So it's not boiling; it's still, as you see, warm. I think it will survive. I hope so.
Yeah.
It looks fine.
Next one.
Yeah. It turned out the cabbage was actually very big, and together with the beetroot, we had to use 3 fermenting crocks. But that's fine, because I made so many.
Yeah, we need
We're
probably
gonna
another.
need a little bit more.
Yeah, maybe one and a half liter.
All that's left now is that we need to add water to this rim. So this is where we create the water sealing or the water lock. Because now when we put this lid on, oh yeah, put a little bit too much. There's a water sealing here. So because when it ferments, there's some gases created, and they can escape because there's going to be pressure from the inside. But nothing is coming outside and into the pot, which is what we want, because this way we limit the external bacteria. We only want the bacteria from the vegetables, and that's a perfect way to do it. So now, as you can see, some of it is actually sticking up. We're just talking about how you can actually push it down and pressure it a little bit, because we don't want anything sticking out. It needs to be covered with the fluid.
Probably have to live with that. That behaves a little better.
Yeah. It usually settles really quickly, so maybe if we leave it there a little bit.
Yeah, and then we'll add a little more.
Yeah, then we can add a little more water. We can still,
marinade. Yeah.
One thing that I noticed now that I may consider in future designs of my fermenting crocks is that the groove here could actually be bigger, so it contains more water, so we get a little more solid water sealing. But it works. So now it's ready, and not ready, but now it's going to ferment for the next 4-5 days, and then it will be ready. I will put it on jars and put it into the fridge. I'll get back to you when it's done. So now we will move on with the kimchi, which is a little bit of a different process. For the kimchi, we will use these, I think we call radish. I think you know what it is, little red ones. And we will use a special sort of cabbage. This, in Denmark we call it China cabbage, which is like a funny thing, is because we call it Danish China cabbage, which is kind of stupid. But I think you know this kind. This is what we need for the kimchi, and we also are going to use some spring onions, and then we have a special paste. Let me just grab that. This paste is made of garlic and ginger, lots of garlic and ginger, lemon juice, fish oil, and chili. I used different kinds of chilies that I had, and this is really, really hot. So this paste is going to be rubbed into this mixture of vegetables, and then we're going to put it into the fermenting crock as it is. So we're not going to add water to this. We're going to massage the cabbage, and that's going to drive out some of the water from that. That should be enough. I forgot, we actually also need carrots in the kimchi. So it's going to be the cabbage, carrot, and the red ones, and the radish, and the spring onions. So those three. And I mean, for kimchi, that lots of different recipes, and you can probably use, lots of different things. But this is what we use. We just had a small argument about the sizes of the carrots, and so now we're actually making different sizes. I like them to be a little bit bigger, sort of like this. So you have a chunk you can take. Where Tasha would like them to be smaller, so they kind of blend into it.
Yeah, because in the original Korean recipe, on the masterclass, I saw they cut it really, really small, in like this very, very thin, long pieces. But we are too lazy to do that.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll try different, and then we can see in the final version. It'll probably taste good anyway. So. And now for the spring onions, we cut them into these. I don't know what it is, half a centimeter, something, pieces, a little less than a centimeter. And for you guys in America, you need to convert that into your non-metric system. We're not going to use that. Yeah, that was the spring onion. It's nice to have lots of that. It's very beautiful. As Natasha just mentioned, it doesn't take up much space. It just adds beauty, just like me. And now it's time for the cabbage, or kinakål. I don't actually know what this particular brand of cabbage is called in English. But anyway, last time we did it, we cut it in rather big chunks. And what we found out is that it's actually nice to have like these sort of like mouthpiece sort of that kind of fits, you know, like a take it and eat it. So
like this maybe, or different?
Yeah, maybe a little bit bigger, maybe not much, something like that. Yeah, because each of those pieces are going to be perfect for like a bite. So just take it with your fork and that's it. For this, I think we need to save some leaves, right, to put on the top.
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily. Okay. This always looks like a lot, but once you start massaging it, it will shrink a lot, and a lot of water will get out of it, and you will release some of the bacteria on the surface of the cabbage, and that's exactly what we want, because that's what's going to initiate the fermentation. We're not adding any yeast or anything like that. It's just the natural bacteria that I guess is in the vegetables. So now we're going to massage the chili paste, and it is rather hot. So Natasha is putting on gloves. If you're very brave and you don't pick your nose or anything, or go to the bathroom, then you can do it without gloves, of course. But it's a little more secure to do it with the gloves. So we're going to mix this in. And how much? Whatever feels right. I don't know for sure, but I think we actually should have. This is just what I had left from the last fermentation, so but I think it's going to be okay.
It looks about right.
Yeah, it's could have used a little bit more, maybe. Should it be massaged more with just the cabbage?
I will massage the whole thing.
Ah, okay. So we actually added everything, and we should probably have had an even bigger bowl for this. I made some very big ones, and I gave them all away to a good friend with a big household. I should have kept some. I'll make some again. I always wanted to make bigger bowls, but then what do I need them for? But now I know what to use them for. So I will make some big ones again, because it's so much fun to do. Like 45 centimeter wide, and this is only 35 something. So I'll make them a little bit bigger than that. And now you see the water is actually getting out of it. If you could see the bottom of this, there's actually water now coming up there. And yeah, you see there. And so just going to keep massaging it a little bit more, and then we're ready to fill up the fermenting crocks. I hope we have enough space. We only have 2 crocks left. You can also use normal glasses, but then we need to do the releasing of the gases manually. With the crocks, it's all automated, mechanically, so good. Look at how beautiful it is now, with the green and the orange from the carrot and the white from the cabbage. And it's actually an important part of food, that it looks good. I think they said it looks good, tastes good. Okay, right, honey? So now we're going to fill the first crock. And remember how much there was, and it actually looks like it's gonna fit the 2 mid-sized crocks we have here. One thing I learned from these 2 first batches of crocks that I made is that I need to make them bigger. Because, as Natasha was just pointing out, when you do fermenting, you do it in, what you said, industrial quantities? Or? But because you don't do it every day. So you do fermenting and then you have for the next month or two, and then you do fermenting again. So I think I want to make some bigger ones. Maybe something like 4 or 5 liters, or what you guys over there in America call a gallon, I think. Something like that. Maybe 1.5 gallon even. And also it's actually nice that they're a little bit wider. This one is not so wide, and it's actually nice that they're wider, so you can get both your hands in there. Look at that. Now we're just going to fill water in here and put the lid on. There was a little bit more than we could have in the crock, so we added a little bit in a glass, which is still okay. But it's just nicer in the crocks. Now that it had some time to settle, the red Kapusta, as you see, it's actually released itself a little. So we just need to add a little bit more water because we need it, or we want it to be fully covered. So I think Natasha will do that. See, you can already see that red color. It's so beautiful. We just finished the first batch of fermenting with the new fermenting crocks. One part of it is red Kapusta, and the other one is a kimchi. So we will see how it goes in a couple of days. Now comes the big day. We are going to open the fermenting crocks and see how it turned out. They've been fermenting in about 20 degrees, 18 to 20 degrees for the past 5 days, I think 5-6 days. It doesn't take that long for the Kapusta and the kimchi to finish the fermenting. So now we'll open the crocks and taste it, and hopefully it tastes really good. We have actually cheated a little bit because yesterday we opened up and tasted, and the kimchi tastes really good. There's maybe a little too much of the leaves in it, so we want to keep more of the hard part. And the Kapusta needed a little more vinegar. So but you can always add more vinegar and salt if you like, as long as the fermenting is going well. So let's open it up and see. This is the kimchi. It looks very good. It smells good too. And this is the red Kapusta, which I just learned because I've been calling it Kapusta for so long time because I thought Kapusta means fermented cabbage. But now Natasha tells me that it just means cabbage. I'm still going to call it Kapusta because it's kind of swing the same way as sauerkraut and choucroute in France. So that's what we call it. It looks good. And so you can actually use, as we talked about the lids, you can use it as a small bowl for testing. So let's get some of it up and see how it tastes. So the important thing when you start taking it out is that whatever tool you use is very clean, because you don't want to introduce any foreign bacteria into the fermenting process. So, but it looks good. Let me just try it. That's pretty good. It could have been hotter in my taste, but the taste is really good. You have this fermenting taste of it, and there's chili taste, but I like chili a lot, so it could have been a little stronger. But and also, as Tasha mentioned, we like these pieces are nice to eat, but this is more like the leaves. It's a little. I think I'm going to leave that out the next time we ferment, and then maybe put a little more of the radish or similar things in it. Cut the carrot in a different way. So, but it tastes good. That's the important thing. And we're discussing what spoon to use. We have 3 different sizes. Natasha took the smallest one over there. So now we're just putting it on these glasses that can close completely. And then we can then put into the fridge or anywhere cold, not too warm, not too much sunlight either. And then it can actually last for a few weeks. Yeah. It's probably not going to last that long. We're going to eat it, but that's another thing. And now we see that how much it actually falls down, and you get much less out of it than what you put in. And also, we love it so much, so I'm actually preparing now to do some fermenting crocks that are much bigger. I'm going on an interesting workshop this weekend. I will make a video about that, so you can see, with a specialist in throwing very big. I'll make some huge Korean style fermenting crocks. Will be interesting. Doesn't it look good? And unfortunately, we couldn't fit it all, so we have to eat that now. So what about the red Kapusta? Is it okay to call it Kapusta?
Yeah,
okay.
It's no problem at all. It's still the same. Yeah.
It's nice and crunchy. And you have that wonderful fermented taste. A little bit of the chili and the garlic, salt, vinegar. This is very good. I'm going to try and put this in a sandwich or just eat it as a snack. It's going to go away really fast. I'm going to leave out some of the beetroot because it's not so interesting. It gives it a nice flavor and a nice color, but it's the cabbage that tastes good, or best. We think so. I'm sure you can eat the beetroot too. It's just not that interesting. Is it good?
It doesn't taste like a garlic, but it's interesting. That's it.
We're actually keeping this beetroot because we didn't expect it, but they actually taste really good. And so in Denmark we use a lot of these beetroot pickles, which is just, in vinegar, salt, sugar, this saltman. But these ones actually taste better. They also have the sugar and the salt and the vinegar, but they also have fermenting. So next time we're going to cut them into more usable slices, so we can put them on one of the famous Danish open sandwiches. That would be good.
That's it.
And then we put the rest of the fluid in there. We'd like to get it almost covered. That way it's going to...
Maybe let's add a little bit there.
That's it. Even though this video didn't have much to do with pottery directly, indirectly maybe, I hope you still enjoyed it and feel inspired to do fermenting. It's really much fun and the taste is good, and it's supposed to be really good for your health and your stomach and digestion and everything. So I enjoyed it a lot, and of course I even enjoyed more because I make my own fermenting crocks now. So you can watch the videos I made with how I make fermenting crocks, and I hope you will go on and ferment your own stuff. There's some really good books out there. I should also mention that a lot of the credit for all of this fermenting thing and what got me started was a Danish chef called Søren Eilersen. He's very good and he's very dedicated to fermenting. He's also behind the company called De Fire Årstider, the 4 seasons. They do a lot of good things with food and deliver organic foods to households in Denmark. Very good work they do. So thank you, Søren, for that. I hope to talk to you soon because I have a couple of fermenting crocks that you need. It's a gift. So anyway, if you like this video and if you like my other more pottery related videos, please come back soon, subscribe, write a comment if you have any questions. I will put the recipes for the 2 different fermenting things we did here today. But remember, there's all sorts of nice recipes. You can do all sorts of things. This is just a couple of examples. So subscribe, comment, share, whatever you like. Have a great day, and I hope to see you very soon again.